Hi, my name is Mike Greiner. I'm a bankruptcy attorney located here at the Financial Law Group in Warren, and we handle bankruptcy cases in all chapters, both for individuals and small businesses. And I'm here to talk to you today about some specific examples of the kinds of things we've been able to do for people as they've gone through bankruptcy. I'll tell you, there's one example of a small business person. He was a client of mine who came into my office. He originally filed a Chapter 13 case because when he and his wife were together, their income was such that they were not eligible for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy case. They had too much income. But then at some point after the Chapter 13 had already been filed, my client went through a divorce. Based upon that change in circumstances, he became eligible for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So we were able to convert him over to Chapter 7 bankruptcy. We wiped out all his debts, and you're talking over $100,000 in credit card debt. We were able to make it so he could keep making his mortgage payment and stay current on his mortgage and keep his house. We were able to protect his business assets and his other assets as we were going through this case. So it worked out very well for him. And one of the biggest surprises most of my clients have is how fast their credit score bounces back after bankruptcy. And this client in particular had a credit score bounce back to over 715 credit score, which is very, very good credit. And that's really in less than a year. So he went from, in a period of about 1.5 years or so, from having $120,000 in credit card debt, filing Chapter 13 bankruptcy, getting divorced, converting over to Chapter 7 bankruptcy, wiping out all his debts, and now having a 715 credit score. So this is a client who really, things worked out very well for. There are a number of other clients who I can point to who've had things like that happen. I had one client come in, and her husband had a business, and she had very little debt except for a business debt that essentially had taken out a second mortgage on her house. The mortgage was to the tune of over $100,000. We were able to file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy case, and we were able to make it where her second mortgage was going to get nothing out of the case. She was basically just paying, really more or less, her legal fees through her payment, and the second mortgage was going to be wiped out to the point where she would not owe the second mortgage anymore, and all she would owe at the end of her Chapter 13 case, which I believe was a 5-year plan, was going to be just her first mortgage. So we were able to save her a lot of money through that. We have people come in all the time who are concerned about the fact that they've read that there's an income limit to being eligible to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. There certainly is an income limit, but don't be scared off if you are in a situation where you are above the income for a family your size to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. There are a number of issues that can be taken into consideration by an attorney who understands this process. For example, if your debts are primarily business related as opposed to consumer related, then you'd be in a situation where you might qualify for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, even though your income would not suggest that you would necessarily be eligible for it in the first place. So if you're primarily in debt as a result of your business affairs, then that would be the case. And the way that the law looks at it is it's not specifically that the debts are in your business name. So say, for example, you're a landlord and you own a bunch of real estate. I've had a number of clients in this situation. The real estate values have declined such that they can't afford to keep their investment real estate anymore. If most of the real estate mortgages are the value of them is for the investment properties, then we've filed a number of cases where we've been able to get someone into Chapter 7 who might not have otherwise qualified for Chapter 7 because of the fact that those debts are considered business debts and not consumer debts. So that's one example. Another example is that we've had people come in who at first glance appear to have very high income. But when you take their certain deductions into consideration, then they do qualify for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. For example, I had one person who was a physician, actually. Very successful person, very high income, but he had a very large family. Lots of children living with him, parents living with him. They were all dependents. He was the only source of income. When the size of his household was taken into consideration, despite the fact that he had a very good job, very high level of income, he qualified for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. There also are a number of teachers who I've represented who have come into my office also with very high income, but because of the changes that have been made in the state, where more and more of their gross income is being taken for certain deductions, things like healthcare deductions, things like uh, paying for their retirement plan. Once those deductions are taken into consideration, then they've been able to qualify for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. There's also there are also people who've come in where they have a relatively high mortgage payment. Mortgage payments can get taken off the top when you're filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy of your income. So there have been a number of people who, even though they have relatively high income, because of the fact that their mortgage payment is so large, that's eaten up enough of their income where they do qualify for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The point is, don't just assume because you looked up a figure that says this is how much money you can earn, and if you earn any more than that, you're not eligible for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Don't believe that that's the case until you actually sit down with a qualified bankruptcy attorney and go through the means test process. When our clients come into our office, we go through the means test with them for free. And we do that in the initial consultation. We ask our clients to bring in with them typically 7 months worth of pay stubs and their last 2 tax returns so we can review those documents and calculate the means test based upon that. If you're interested in finding out more as to whether you've qualified for Chapter 7 bankruptcy or if there are some of these other processes that we can take to help you sort out your financial situation, please feel free to call my office to set up an appointment. My phone number is 586-693-2000. My website is financiallawgroup.com, and I'll be happy to meet with you personally for a free consultation.